we go.
Happy hour. Night attacks happy hour. Night attacks happy hour. Dig.
Oh, it's Happy Hour featuring the four regular hosts, Brian, Justin, Rob Krekel, and joyful federal agent Bryce Neshcom Doug Castillo Brushwood. I messed it up. Doug is first.
No. It's all perfect. Wow, that is such an adorable little pup.
Yeah, man. It's been a big day. Aww. She
Camera shy.
yeah, we've been driving for 5 hours and such today. I guess here, let me give the one shot to the puppy for a little bit. I guess oh my god. Yeah, she's ready to explore.
So
Okay.
many new smells and new things.
Yeah.
Gotta go running around.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, so here she'll go explore. We'll bring her back for a curtain call at the end. Well, I mean, you'll have to keep an eye on everything. That's Bonnie's like,
So I just get to look at the dog. Great. That's a great thing for me to do, says Bonnie Brushwood. Well, give us the story. What happened? By the way, yeah, Rob Krekel, blah, blah, blah. You made like the biggest game ever. It's fine. Throw a party for yourself. Let's talk about this puppy. How did you get this puppy?
We drove up to Waco, which was a 2.5 hour drive. We thought it was going to be 2 hours up, 2 hours down, and just a little, simple transaction. But it turns out there's still a thing called traffic in the world. So it took us a little bit longer. What we expected was what we got, which was cool Weimaraner breeders who know what they're doing and walked us through the process and said a lot of the same stuff that, we've been reading puppy raising books and all that stuff. And what we didn't expect is the unexpected wave of the maudlin emotions that we felt on the way back, because obviously we're getting this pup because we had a terrible experience with our previous pup, and so like I'm just driving and in the back I just hear sniffles and it's like Bonnie's just crying her eyes out. I'm like, what's going on? And she's like, well, I'm just having a complicated, and plus also it is weird. Like, we've never had the experience of taking a dog out of its family. That's part of the reason that we always went with rescues, which is also the reason we have a bunch of psychotic dogs. Because, it feels, who doesn't want to be somebody who rescues a puppy, right?
Well, yeah. And also what they don't say is that that's a traumatized animal.
Yeah.
Like that's, you're rescuing it because something bad happened. Your fingers are always crossed. Please be negligence. Please be negligence. Please be negligence.
Please.
Just simple like negligence, please, and not like anything worse, right? But yeah, I think this is that's tough.
But that was definitely, especially on Bonnie's side. I mean, first of all, there's the reminder of how everything shook out with our last dog, but also Bonnie as a mom to engage in the practice of a baby snatching.
Well,
Which is pretty weird because they were all just sleeping in a pile, and then all of a sudden one of them was gone.
One of them leaves.
Yeah, but of course that was the plan all along. But you don't realize until you're in the middle of the jewel heist
you're doing it.
that you're like, I'm stealing a baby.
But I mean that's certainly the most self-destructive way to think about it. The other way, which is I'm sure the way the breeders have framed it, is that no, you're joyful federal agent Bryce,
Bryce.
Doug, Neshcom, or
Castillo, Brushwood. Yeah.
is going home, and that's really what is happening. I mean, as far as the maudlin feelings, I think that like part of that is just you mourning the fact that this is officially the end of that story.
Yeah.
Like now that, because the new protagonist is joyful federal agent Bryce Doug Castillo Brushwood, right?
Brushwood, yes.
Like,
but I don't think Bonnie had gone through the processing that I had, because number one, I was there at what was the end of the story, you know, and then I spent 2 months, you know, having a daily reminder, you know, every sunset hour, you know, being literally afraid to walk the back 5 acres for fear of the powerful memories, because that was the whole ritual that we had and everything. So I was a little bit ahead of the curve on really thinking through all of that stuff. And Bonnie,
you're still going through it. I mean, like, you know, as your friend, you know, I mean, I don't know the catalog of your life, but what I would say.
Oh, it was a top 10 traumatic moment.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would bet like this is I kind of feel like top 5 might be in play. Like, you know.
Yep.
So I think that you're definitely still going through it. And also it's like, but you've had time to do it. And now it's like where you are beginning again. This will forevermore be less of that story and the story that you're telling right now with this amazing, adorable animal.
What about you, Rob? You got a pup?
Yeah, we got a adorable Pembroke Welsh Corgi. Similarly, when we first picked him up, I don't know, it was like 8 years ago. We got him from a breeder, you know, whole thing. There was definitely that feeling of like, oh, we are stealing a baby right now, and it really screwed my wife up for a little while. She's like,
I'm glad to hear that it's not a unique situation, because I did not expect the tears on the ride home.
Yeah.
Now, the thing that you don't get to enjoy is that 6 to 8 years later, having your child go, why did you take Gizmo away from his mom and dad? And you go, I don't know, because they're selfish, evil people.
Because you love Gizmo, right? So really, you took him away from his mom and dad.
Hey man, what do you want to talk about? You're being the special guest. You get to drive the show. If you want to talk any of that PlayStation stuff, we can, or we could just catch up on dog stuff or kid
catch
stuff.
Up on life, because life is real hard right now.
First, let me start with this. You recently got a big promotion, right? Like you are moving on up in the world, which is amazing because we knew you when.
Yeah, back on Game On. If you can remember that.
Right?
That's my first.
I mean, that's the funniest part about watching and celebrating as you kind of announced that you were moving up the corporate ladder there at Naughty Dog was like, it's like, man, like a guy who's in that position of like leadership at among the most like foremost game companies in the world definitely helped us make shit sounds on Night Attack. Like we definitely went through Foley work on how to make the most accurate sound of shit falling out of somebody's butt. And
can I confess
it made me so happy
that I must have missed this in the Twitter sphere? What was the exact announcement?
So I got promoted to audio director at Naughty Dog.
Yeah, right on. Okay. Because you already were on the individual game, Last of Us Part 2, like top audio credit on there, but now you're having other people pick up your sandwiches for you.
Not exactly. No, it's more of a formal title change. Honestly, like the responsibilities don't change all that much. It's just a structural change inside Naughty Dog. We're now having a little bit better of a structure for advancement for other folks on the team. Like my benefits all on the team, which is awesome because it's something that's been a long time coming.
And I know Bryce watched all of the Sony announcement. Did they speak specifically about ports to the new PlayStation system on any particular game or anything?
I mean, Dark Souls is a remaster,
Okay, all
or
right,
sorry, Demon Souls rather. Sorry,
right.
Demon Souls. But in terms of the other stuff, I think the only thing they mentioned was the PlayStation Collection
All
or
right.
PlayStation Plus Collection, whatever it was called,
Well,
which has like a lot of the older games in it.
Well, who
Um,
knows whether or not one of the most popular titles of all time in their catalog will be ported and upgraded? Who can
dude,
say? Certainly not Rob Krekel right now on this stream.
absolutely not. But there are a lot of wonderful people still taking vacations after working very, very hard on that game that came out. That did pretty well.
Yeah, you guys crunched pretty hard. Uh, has it already been what 2-3 months since the game came out?
Couple months.
Um,
The weirdest part about it, man, is we finished right at the height of the craziness. We went home
Well,
in
that's
March to finish the game, which is just bananas.
that's actually what I'm curious about is like you there was that weird purgatory where it was gonna be released on a certain day, and then when nobody knows what the future holds in terms of like physical anything, there was this delay, and there was the idea of, oh, well, I don't know, maybe it's delayed a year, maybe it's delayed 5 days, like nobody knew anything. What was like that? What was like from your perspective? Did you have any other sense internally, or was this just like, whatever, it's out of my hands, my job is done, clean,
It
I mean,
was more like
and not
the
only
world is askew right now, and we don't know which way's up. So let's just hang out until we figure that out.
well, and
That
there
was that
there
was pretty much it.
there was not only the delay aspect, there was the subject matter question, where it's just like, does the world really want a game about a global pandemic that ruins everything right now? But I assume the game, I mean, is beloved and doing well, right?
Seemingly, seems like there's listen, people like certain forms of media and they like certain games and movies, and other people don't
yeah.
for a million different reasons. Um, but it sold really well, and people seem to like it on the whole, so I can't
Did
complain.
did you appreciate that what we released as bonus content on the Modern Rogue was quite literally just, we're doing this for Rob Krekel. like we
Oh,
did an hour-long review walking through everything, and yes, technically I suppose other people watched it, but it was definitely just for you.
I mean, when we talked before, I thought maybe we'll just have like a group chat or a call or something, and then that came out. I was like, oh, cool. This is definitely for me. No, it was
How
awesome hearing you
long?
and Jason chat about it, man. That was really great. I actually passed it around the team because it was a cool conversation. It's fun to hear people talk about something you spend so much time working on.
Oh yeah.
It's like fascinating to see and to hear what people take out of it.
It,
Because
Now that
oh, go ahead, Justin.
now that everything is out, can you just say like how long from like stem to stern your work on Last of Us Part 2 was, like just in terms of like years or months or whatever?
I think all told, it's hard to say because at a certain point I was working on Lost Legacy while also like moonlighting on Last of Us Part Two. So it's probably in the realm of like 4 years or so, something like that.
Holy
Wow.
cow. So
Yeah.
so some of the surprise, and we'll try to stay spoiler free, but some of the surprise elements you must have known about years ahead of time. And did you? What does that feel like? Like, do you have like kind of a gut instinct where it's like, ooh, they're not gonna like that, or they will, or it's like, ooh, they're gonna love that, or ooh, I wonder if they're gonna be okay with that.
I would say I thought the first game was going to be bad and people wouldn't like it, and I was completely wrong. So I just don't even listen to those instincts because it's impossible to predict.
That's got to be crazy though. Like working on a project like that, where I mean, it's more torturous timeline wise than a movie. To like, you're building a ship that's gonna sail one way or another, and your personal opinions are just like totally meaningless, right? Like you're
It's
just going forth and doing a thing.
more like a space arc where it's just like my great grandchildren will appreciate arriving in Alpha Centauri.
I think more it's the trust of the people that are concocting this thing. They're not
Yeah.
like no one's. They're people who have proven track record of success, and there's a lot of trust that goes on. But I mean, we have constant conversations, and there's feedback that goes up and down the chain. It's not simply just do the work you're told to do. It's not that at all.
Yeah.
The cool thing about Night Dog is that it's very transparent and open. If you have a problem with something or a question, like you just go talk and ask about it, and then you'll either get a rationale as to why, or maybe you'll bring up an interesting question, and maybe you'll have an interesting discussion that might inform a change or an addition or a subtraction. So it's actually really awesome to work like that because you trust the people, but you also always have the opportunity to ask questions, which is pretty rare usually in such a giant collaboration of people. It's like,
Well, in
Well, yeah,
the
and I would guess when you had that much money riding on everything, right? And everything's got to hit a number, and everything's got to hit a date. Like that's I would imagine that discipline is necessary. Like when the teams are that large and the deadlines and the stakes are that big.
oh yeah, I mean it's still a very scary thing. I mean, it is a very risky proposal, making a big, giant, long single player game with a story that is potentially charged
provocative,
in one way
yeah.
or provocative. Yeah, there's a lot of risk involved. I think, like I said before, though, like Naughty Dog has a proven track record, so Sony has a lot of
Yeah.
trust. Even though they may look at it and go, "Oh God," they trust that we know what we're doing, and so far so good.
Well, you're not
I,
kidding.
I,
Like if I'm picturing an HBO TV show about the behind the scenes on this, I'm seeing a lot of corporate saying, but do you need to maybe like what if as a surprise, like make it less painful / interesting. But
That's
luckily,
kind of the magic of working in video games, man. We get a little more rope. We're a little bit more like the
Yeah.
Wild West.
Oh, totally. And I think from your guys' perspective at Naughty Dog, you're now in a place that I don't even know if there is a movie equivalent in the same way. Like certainly people have brand faith in something like Marvel, but like Miramax, the way Miramax was in like the early 90s where it was like, all right, no, I don't care what's coming. I guess maybe A24 or something like this now in terms of indie movies, but like doesn't matter what kind of thing they're doing. It will be interesting and challenging and complex, and you're going to have a a good time doing it. It seems like, from my perspective, as somebody who doesn't play any of this shit, like that Naughty Dog just continues to hit it out of the park in terms of the critical reaction.
Am I imagining like wasn't there some announcement of a video like a TV show version of Last of Us or something? Is that
Yeah,
still a thing?
HBO with Craig Mazin from Chernobyl
Oh my
being a
god.
showrunner, and they're
Yeah.
bringing in a lot of the same talent for the various disciplines. So far, seems really cool. I haven't really seen a ton of it yet. Obviously, it's still in development, but if there's a creative team to trust, I think that's a pretty good one. I think it's a
It's
pretty
a
good one
pretty
to go
good
with.
one. In the wild world of television, you want to go with a name like that.
It's funny, so many people, whenever they hear like somebody's trying to retell a story in a new medium, I preemptively say boo to secure myself and be insulated against disappointment. And it's like every so often, though, the movie's better than the TV show, like the first 6 seasons of Game of Thrones or the Lord of the Rings movies or what have you. And it's like, I don't know. I like if there's a 1 in 100 chance of it either succeeding of capturing the magic or telling a new version of the story or possibly even improving upon the story, then you should cheer that somebody's nutty enough to step up to the plate every time.
Yeah, it was a big shock that that was even happening in the first place. It was like, whoa, oh, HBO, okay, that's something that's probably going to actually get made because so many high-profile video game projects just go into development hell and then never
Yeah.
materialize. or they come out as a UA Bowl movie that you probably watch one time when you're drunk with friends or something. Like
Sure.
Yeah.
there's not a whole lot of like, oh, this is a great video game property that has this great adaptation. We've yet to really have that. Some of the newer movies are better, maybe not my cup of tea, but like the Sonic movie and the Detective Pikachu of the world. But it'll be interesting with more mature subject matter.
Well, yeah, and I think that Last of Us is such uh a rich world, right? And also I think it's probably better that it's taken this long to make it happen because like in an earlier version you could see it kind of being swept up in the Walking Dead hysteria and it becomes more like that move or that show which is doesn't seem like at all what you guys are going for with Last of Us. There's like a totally different story being told. And so now that Walking Dead is kind of on the wane, and you have a place like HBO where they're not going to do a Walking Dead style show. They're going to do probably more what Walking Dead felt like in the first season when Darabont was doing it, and it was
Right.
maybe a little bit more complex. You could probably just do a show in that vein and direction.
Yeah, and the beauty is there's been so much availability of media that is similar to learn from. Walking Dead is a perfect example of that, but even big productions like Game of Thrones, big adaptations of other media, there's a lot of learning that has gone on in how close you have to be to the original source material and how much you can add, change, get away with, and still kind of strike that balance between honoring what the people who like the video game like, but also like bringing in a new audience and bringing in something new to the table that doesn't just completely blow away what the original property brought. So there's been a lot of lessons, I think that hopefully the creative team on the show learns.
So what are you personally consuming and enjoying these days when it comes to, because it sounds like your schedule is a little bit more freed up than it had been.
Yeah, I'm trying to catch up on everything I missed. For like 2 years, I basically missed all the movies, all the shows, everything. Just didn't get watched,
Oh,
which is
this
a
is great
bummer.
then. All right, so what's on the Rob Krekel honor roll over the last 2 years?
Well, most recently, especially with the new season coming out, I've been catching up on The Mandalorian because I'm a big Star Wars guy,
Yeah.
old school, and big Boba Fett fan. So that's right up my alley. So I really want to catch up on the first season. I'm about halfway through. And then, yeah, second season coming out, seeing the trailer, I'm like, I really need to get through that before that comes out. But I need to finish like the end of Game of Thrones. I
Oh,
missed the
really?
Yeah.
last like 3 seasons of that, basically. Yeah,
Two,
maybe not.
two out of three. Two out of three. You're gonna have a great time.
It's just you want to know what? If it happens, it happens. Like, just let nature take its course.
And there's too many movies to name at this point that I need to like sit down and watch. I just recently watched Parasite, which is great.
Oh, yeah.
My wife and I sat down
Parasite
to watch
was
that.
great. Yeah.
Completely
or as Justin
unexpected.
calls it, that scamming ass family.
I wish it would have been titled. The American title should just, but like I would have seen it earlier because like Parasite makes it sound like, and obviously, look, it means something a lot. Like it is a lesson that obviously is applicable in America, but it is very kind of designed for this Korean culture that they are talking about. But yeah, Parasite. Especially in that like poster, I thought there was like a supernatural element to it.
It definitely
felt
looked like a horror
science
movie, yeah.
fiction or a horror
Yeah, I
story.
totally
and
thought
then
it was
you-
a horror movie, not knowing anything about it. I'm like, oh, this must be like a Korean horror movie. It's like,
Yeah.
kind of, not really, very
and then
different.
it just turns into that scamming ass family, scamming their asses off. It was great.
Yeah, no, that was great. And then yeah, there's more that I can't even think at this point that I'm still missing. I don't know. Give me some suggestions. What do I need to watch, and I'll tell you if I've seen it or not.
Did you watch the first season of The Boys, right?
No, that's also
what a
Dan-
wonderful
Dan is gonna be
treat.
mad
Get
at me.
that.
Yeah, no,
Get
yeah.
that.
And-
Get that in your life. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, that is we're rewatching the first season because I watched it on the road without Ashley. And so to watch the second season, we're watching the first season. We're just rounding home plate here for the finale. And I'm like, ooh, that show's good.
Yeah.
That show's like like the places it goes are always, you just love whenever you're like in your head, you're like, oh, you know what would be cool with this story if it went here. And then like they do, and it's even better. And you're like, oh, this show, yes.
Same with did you ever watch Legion?
No, that is on my list though.
Okay, sub question. Have you ever done edibles? Because I would say
Maybe,
if you
but I
have,
don't want to say on the internet.
if you have the means, they pair well. If I were to create a tasting menu, I would say Legion and edibles, just a chef's kiss.
I mean, looking at some of the billboards when they were up in LA, I can get that idea.
Oh,
yeah.
it is an art director's reel with a story stapled to it. Like, and sometimes like season 2, they kind of even forget there's a story at certain points, and they're just like, no, but we're still gonna do all the crazy art director stuff. It's like, well, of course, why do you think we're here? And they do.
There was definitely a friend of mine whose wife turned to him in episode 6 of season 1 and said, "Wait a minute, is this like a Marvel Universe thing?"
Yeah.
And it's like, and even then, you might have blinked and missed it. It was amazing.
Okay, definitely on the list for sure.
Oh, Lower Decks is so much better than it ought to be. If you just want to waste money on CBS access.
Although, is it changing? I heard it like it's gonna be Paramount now. It's
really?
rebranding as another thing already.
Oh, I have not heard. I've not heard.
Let me double check that before I'm talking out of my butt.
Yeah. No, that it's right now our entire family's appointment must view watch is every time a new episode comes out, we run and check it out because it's it does not do any of the cheap things that you would expect from, let's say, a Robot Chicken kind of production where the joke is, hey, remember the thing. Instead, they tell credible Trek stories in a tight half-hour format with really punchy dialogue and aesthetically. Visually, it's a treat, and characters that you instantly get and fall in love with. It's so much better than it needs to be. I like it a lot.
Yeah, 2021 CBS All Access will become Paramount Plus.
Oh, got it. Yeah. Well, God, that's a better name than CBS All Access. Thank goodness.
Well, yeah. I mean, I guess that's the other thing is that it. I guess you. Although I don't know, I don't have any relationship to the Paramount studio. Like I guess I remember they have a mountain.
That's
once in a while,
Raiders of the Lost Ark is the beginning of
there's
Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yeah,
No,
exactly.
That's about it.
But are they gonna have Raiders of the Lost Ark on there? Because if not, then pound sand.
Man, I would hope so. You're right. If they don't even have any of the iconic Paramount titles, that'll be tough. Yeah.
All right, I'm searching for it. Will Paramount Plus have?
There was something else on CBS All Access that I think I wanted to check out.
Watch the first episode of Picard and then just imagine how good the rest of that show could be.
Okay, so Indiana Jones is on Netflix now, but I guess it will eventually be on Disney. I guess it's a Disney thing. Whatever.
It's been fun seeing the whole world finally get around to realizing how good Cobra Kai is now that it's on Netflix.
That I did watch. I watched that actually on YouTube. It was on YouTube Red. Isn't even that a thing anymore?
Well, now it's YouTube Premium because YouTube Red was, and has always been a god-awful title. Yeah.
Oh, I see. Console Wars is going to be coming out on CBS All Access, and I'm a big fan of that. Well, if you haven't read it, it's amazing.
I think I did read that.
It is an awesome book about the console war between Sega and Nintendo, like in the late 80s, early 90s. It's
and about
awesome.
How secretly the TurboGrafx 16 was better than both of them put together. Yeah.
I don't know about that, but there's some great characters in there. Tom Kalinske is like one of the main guys at Sega, and he's just a fascinating character. I'm really interested to see how the documentary kind of paints the characters, because
Oh,
it's pretty interesting, like the whole battle that they had.
here's something that you might have missed over the last 2 years. All documentaries are 15 episodes, and like 8 of them are barely
Relevant.
useful. Yeah. Like now, all documentaries are series, and all series last 3 episodes longer than they should. By the way, hey Brian,
Yeah, yeah.
The Vow. Do you know how many episodes that season is?
I mean, we're already 4 something episodes in.
4 in. Yeah.
How much longer can it go?
Because you think we're pretty much at the end of.
I mean,
The
I would
story,
imagine
right?
8. I would imagine 8 would be my legitimate money on the table guess.
9.
Okay, all right. I'm close enough.
9.
All right.
9. But I'll tell you what, I kind of feel like they could land that plane. They probably could have landed that plane in the 4th episode, unless there's some crazy stuff that they're breaking. There's crazy news that they're breaking.
Oh, this is
Boy, do I not know what the hell they're gonna do for another 5 episodes. That's Rob, the Nexium sex cult documentary that's on HBO right now.
This is news to me. I have not. I need to. Sounds like something I need to put on my list.
Yeah, you did you miss the whole Joe Exotic fever thing that happened?
Tiger King.
No, Jen and I watched Tiger King.
Yeah.
For a bit. Yeah.
For a bit, you didn't even stick around.
No,
Yeah.
I given my state of mind at the time, it was not what I needed.
It was not. I would encourage you revisiting it, because that one's maybe like an episode fatty, but at least it has the self-respect to constantly be giving you a new facet of things. There's always a new main character. Look
Sure.
at that adorable little pup. Oh, what? Man, so crazy. She's just like, oh, I need to figure out what the hell's going on. The world is nuts.
Oh, you do not get to go exploring.
Here's a good one. Have you seen any of Documentary Now?
Ooh,
Oh,
that
yeah,
is a good one.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Actually, one of my son's friends' dads is a writer on it, and so we've watched all that. He also writes a little bit on Barry, which was awesome. I don't know if you guys
Oh,
watched
awesome.
Barry, but Barry
Yeah.
was great.
Yeah, sure. Barry grew on me. I didn't like how inside anything that looks like Hollywood crawling up its own butt, I tend to cringe at. But Barry ends up having enough substance that I dug it.
I also really like Bill Hader, so that biases me a bit, I guess.
High Score on Netflix is very good if you're looking for billion episode documentaries.
Yeah, I binged through that this past week, and then The Toys That Made Us is like,
Toys
I
That
love
Made
that
Us
series. Awesome.
is so great, because it has such a great point of view when it comes to like documentary stuff, and they're not afraid to get into the infighting. Like, and I'm sure it's stuff that from being inside a big, massive company-wide creative process, that there are skirmishes, there are turf wars, there are creative clashes, there are people that bet it all and lose in these processes. And it's like, I think in general, people want to sand off those edges. And I just love that Toys That Made Us are like, no, the guy who drew all the G.I. Joes is a creep. And the more we talk to him, like, the more he's a creep. And the more everyone's like, yeah, he was really weird and we didn't like him. Like, that's just, I just love that, because like, why not? All this stuff is 30 years old. If you're not going to come forth with the gossip now, like, when?
Oh, it's going to be gone. Yeah, absolutely. And the other thing I love about it is, as you mentioned before, there's all documentaries seem to need to be a million episodes and kind of bloated. Because those are individual topics, they're just bite-sized, individual. They're like perfect. You can skip the ones you don't care about and just ingest the ones that you do.
I would be remiss if I didn't. In the chat, we have somebody who's worked on season 2 of the show, so we should mention Warrior Nun season 1. I really enjoyed. It's delightfully bonkers. And wait, did you never watch Preacher?
Oh no, I've watched Preacher.
Oh, okay, okay.
I was a massive fan of the comics in college, and yeah, no, as soon as that came out, it was there day one.
Warrior Nun tickles a little bit of that Preacher vibe, or a little bit of that Buffy the Vampire Slayer vibe.
I would say also Lovecraft Country. If you liked Preacher, Lovecraft Country is probably like dial back Preacher like 10 degrees in the comedy, maybe even 15 degrees in the comedy. Dial up instead racism. and you pretty much have Lovecraft Country where but even Lovecraft Country is probably more dedicated to just being a like horror anthology. Like each episode is a new horror trope, a new horror genre rather. And they're really, really good. Oh, The Witcher. Did you see The Witcher?
I did not.
Yeah, no, I did see The Witcher. Yeah.
Wait,
Brian, did you see The Witcher?
Brian, you didn't see The Witcher?
No.
What?
No.
Oh my God, you got to get that in your life.
Yeah? Worthy?
Oh my God. Oh yeah.
All right.
How on earth? What in the? How has this gone unvisited? You've watched
The Witcher.
You've watched all of Lonesome Dove in between when The Witcher came out and now. Like, you need to get on that post haste.
Okay,
friend.
all right, and so I shall. Okay, look, it looks like this puppy wants to go home, so I guess we gotta wrap things up. It's a bit of a shorter one. Rob, will you join us again, man?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Now that I have a little more time, it's a lot easier to jump on.
Hells yeah. Okay.
And hopefully I can get on Night Attack at some point. I gotta figure out when I can do nighttime.
Yeah, you tell us, man. You just send us a press release explaining. Guess what? This Tuesday.
We'll make some embarrassing sounds that my wife can remind me of that we made, like a nun queefing and things of that
nature. Yes.
Awesome. All right. Thank you very much, Rob Krekel, for joining us. We'll see you guys next time. Happy
folks.
Friday.
Happy hour. Night Attack's happy hour. Night Attack's happy hour. Dig.
Bonnie is literally chasing the dog around with the pee pad, putting it underneath
funny.
at all times.